All right, guys, day 4. We're just kind of finishing up here. We got late last night. We just had a few touch-ups left, but Brian's getting after it. We got the throttle body all bolted up, everything there. Belts on. Obviously, we saw that last night. Now we're getting the cold air kit. Honestly, I love to see these blue filters. I know you're supposed to keep the lids on, but man, I'll tell you, they look so good. Be nice if we could see those. I'm sure someone's going to come to the aftermarket with an aftermarket cold air intake, but we're going to get this finished up here. All right, guys, we got the air inlet on. It's definitely a tight fitment on this. It's a little tricky. We went back and forth a bunch of different ways with it. What Brian found was the easiest way, it seems to be, is put your clamp on here, tighten it down, work your way over to the left side, work that one on, and you may end up twisting this a little bit, like this was a little bunched up on us. Work this one in, and then after we got done, we loosened this clamp back up here. And the reason he clamped this down was to keep it from coming off, because every time you try to put one side on, the other side pops off. So he clamped this down, got this side in, looked a little bit twisted, got this last side in, loosened this back up, arranged it. Now it looks exactly like it should. But it looks pretty amazing back here. I personally love the blue filters. I'd almost have to test it to track, like taking the lids off or just taking the boxes out altogether. But Brian thinks, you know, you get this cold air that directs in. If you want to see the filters, you could leave the lid off. I think, you know, these blue filters look pretty neat. Might pull in a little more engine heat, might not, but if you at least keep the bottom box on, you've got that big opening there, and it's at least going to kind of funnel some air in there. So that at a minimum would be a good idea if you want to have that look with the blue filters. So as I mentioned yesterday, depending on the routing and everything, we got this routed pretty good. UPR kind of shows it routing on the back side of those hoses, where we've got it kind of tucked on the inside. I think it looks a little cleaner like that, so Brian's going to cut this hose down for fitment in there. That way your oil fill is still out of the way, and I think that'll look a little cleaner versus wrapping this all the way out here. I mean, you could put it out there, but I think it looks a little cleaner on the inside and shorten it up. But whatever you guys want to do with that. You can see the hoses just pull back, a bit cleaner line. Follows that, they got that nice 45-degree bend, so it tucks down and over since it's got the bend, but that looks a lot cleaner there. Gives you some room in there for everything with this. Keeps it back a little bit more, so really like that. One important thing too is your check valve. You want to make sure your check valve is flowing the correct direction when you install these. We see a lot of guys put these on backwards, so really important to know where your check valve's at. Okay, what we're doing now is filling the coolant in the system. It's really recommended by Ford to use a pressurized type system to fill the coolant into the system and get everything in. Coyotes are notorious for air in the system, and you got to burp it and burp it and burp it and burp it. You can do it at home, but just know when you're doing a home install, and if you don't have something like this, you're probably going to have to burp it a lot. You're going to get air bubbles, and just be mindful before you plan on taking this on a long trip somewhere that you may not have all the air out of the system. Now we're basically going to repeat what we just did, except for the coolant reservoir for the supercharger kit. Is that what you just said, Brian?
And put your tune in it.
Uh-oh. We got coolant. We got intercooler coolant. Got a lot of stuff buttoned up here, so pretty excited. We're going to go through the instructions here and do the, fortunately the screen really doesn't show in the video, but I'm going to go through and do the install on the tune, and then we're going to get rocking and fire this thing up. So right now we turn the device on and it says it's reprogramming, software update. So we should be updating everything, and then we'll get to flashing. And again, it, you know, unfortunately the screen really doesn't come through, but it says it's programming right now, percent complete, 11, 12. So it's counting up and going through the programming process. Now that our programming is done, it's, you're supposed to go into your diagnostics, check for any DTC codes, and make sure we clear those out. All right, guys, we're about to try our first start, see what it does. Now, when you've had your fuel system disconnected, sometimes the DI, which is most of your idle characteristics and stuff like that, sometimes it takes a minute for that fueling to get in there and everything like that, but we're going to try to fire this bad boy up and see what happens. And she's fired right up. It's a little loud with the headers and aftermarket exhaust, but it started right up and she's idling good. You can hear the idle coming down. It's a little bit quieter on the exhaust, like I said, once that cold start comes down, but we're not seeing any check engine lights at the moment. She's idling pretty good. So looks like the Whipple flash was good, considering you got new injectors in here, and somehow the calibration didn't take or something like that. You would expect that the car's not just going to idle or run good. So Brian's going to do a walk around. He's going to look for fuel leaks in the car, look for any coolant leaks, stuff like that. You really want to do good walk arounds on these things once you've done an install. All right, guys, the installation is done. We had one little pinhole in one of the coolant fittings, like we said. Finish line, Brian came by this morning to take care of that. Got overnighted on Saturday, so just wanted to show you what this thing looks like. Got this beautiful polished blower, and now you can kind of see it on the car with the wheels. If you stand back and get a good gander with these polished wheels too. That's why I went for the polished blower. With this combination, I just think, man, this thing is awesome. We got the Weld B series on the front, the test wheels on the rear. You got the double bolts on the rear, the bolts on the front. I think it looks really, really good. These wheels look awesome. Again, we've got the LTH headers on here. We've got right now the Miltech catback on it. We got a bunch of UPR Steeda and BMR suspension parts. UPR hooked us up with that UPR catch can. Biking, they took care of us on the coilovers all the way around. Badass aerospace brakes. And I still got to upload the video for the brakes and some of the suspension stuff. We wanted to get to the blower, so I'm going to get all that uploaded for you. We also did the low drag hubs on the brakes, courtesy of our friends at Aerospace. And we did the Street Pro brakes. I think total was like around 100 pounds. I've got it in the other video I'll be uploading, but Kim and the guys over there, they're just awesome people. They do a great job taking care of all the racers and stuff like that. Window tint all the way around, of course. We're probably going to throw some RTR parts we just got in at it as well. I went ahead, I actually left the center caps off the front just because the badass Aerospace hubs, I think it looks better without the center caps on there. So I'm probably going to roll without those. We're going to go out and take it for a first drive. So let's see how she sounds. All right, so we're pulling out on the road here. We're going to go light through some of the gears. I mean, I already shifted this. It shifts so fast. Just kind of feel the Whipple tune, see how it feels on everything. Usually their tune's pretty good. I know you get some people complain, the Whipple tune's no good, but we sell so many customers that do the Whipple complete kits with their tune and are really, really happy. Are they ringing every single thing out? No, but they offer some of these kits with warranties and everything like that, and they still typically dominate the competition as far as horsepower on the complete kit. So we're up to 7th gear already. It shifted light throttle, shifted really good. Going through all the gears without issue. So I'm not hating that. 8th gear now. I don't know down here that we'll have enough to get up to 9th and 10th, but yeah, 9th gear, shifting in 9th gear. I mean, that all felt really good, smooth, not jerky, anything like that. Give it a little bit more throttle. That was a 4 to 5, up around 3,500 RPM. That felt decent. I want to stop here, even though there's a car coming, just give it a little bit more. Go from a stop through the gears just so we can kind of feel them all. Okay, it's in first now. So that was all the way through 6th gear at about, not a lot, maybe, 20% throttle, 15%, 20%. But it went all the way through 7th gear there, and it shifted up around 4,000 RPMs. Nice, smooth. Was not unhappy with that at all. So we're going to try from a complete stop, see if it holds. I can't tell. Did it just go or did it spin? I couldn't tell. Let's try one more time. baby. Drag pack for the win. Sure felt like she hooked fine. It was rolling through them gears, I'll tell you that. Well, we tried to do a draggy. We're definitely getting a little bit of spin, but we're going to hit it again here. So you get, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but that second, especially on the shift, I mean, the ass is just going everywhere. This thing's just all over the place. And again, this is only a 315 gear car, so, you know, different cars, different gear, 315, 355, the manuals may have 373, so playing around with it, seeing what they do, but it definitely feels pretty good. You got to remember, I'm used to, my other car makes, you know, 1400 plus wheel, so, you know, you get 750, 800 wheel. It's not quite as crazy since I'm used to the power, but it definitely feel good to you, Phil?
Yeah.
Feels pretty good. I think once we get the tires heated up on the track where we can just stomp it from and give it everything from the stop, I think it should run pretty good. Will it run a 9? I don't know. Those seem to be optimal conditions. I know VMP supposedly ran a 999, and then you know, the next day, you know, some 1020s, 1030s. So I don't know what was different in those runs, if the prep was off or what it was, but you know, definitely should be a 10-second car, no problem. You know, Ryan spilling her 10-second car. But it feels pretty good out here, so we're excited to get it to the track, see if there's any kind of data we can get over to Whipple to help those guys out and improve them. But the tune's feeling really good. I'm not disappointed with the Whipple tune at all. It's shifting amazing. Just stay tuned. We're going to get out to the track for you guys, okay? We just got done flogging on her. Made several watt hits on the car. Everything shifted great. Everything felt great with this Whipple tune on this thing. We're really happy. Did a drag use, getting a little bit of spinning on it. So it actually gave us about 11.0, but we were spinning in first gear, sliding a little bit in second gear, and this is a 315 gear car. So I think at the track we should have a, you know, 1060 to 1030 car, something like that. We'll just get it to the track and see. I think I'd like the 315 gears at this horsepower level, but as tuning gets released, we go to smaller pulleys, things like that, that 315 may end up being a good gear. We just got to see where it goes through the traps at and everything. We've got a converter sitting here from Suncoast to put in, so that's going to, you know, help out with the launch and everything a little bit. So we just want to get Whipple a lot of data first before we start doing things outside the normal Whipple tune, since this is a Whipple complete kit. And but so far we're really happy. Big shout out to Finish Line for getting everything done. Big shout out to Whipple for getting us dialed in, and everybody else that's been taking part in this build. But we're going to keep the vids coming for you, and anything you need, let us know.